Wowhead is dying. We know who's killing it. Oh no. And see, here's the thing about Wowhead. It's a big part of my stream, but what I will say, if you've ever watched my news article videos or anything like that, you know I go through a lot of Wowhead articles in the morning and we do the WoW news segment. But one thing I have been noticing is Wowhead's been falling behind a little bit to Icy Veins. I mean, usually Wowhead's on point with their articles. They never miss things, but I'll be honest, lately, and you guys have been noticing this maybe, I've been pulling a lot more Icy Veins articles up during the WoW news segment, and that's because Icy Veins just been capturing a lot of things that Wowhead hasn't been. So I don't know what's going on at Wowhead. Maybe this video is going to shed some light on what's going on at Wowhead, but they've been a cornerstone of WoW news for a long time. Maybe that's about to change. Let's see what Bellular has to say.
We don't often talk specifically about Wowhead or other community sites here. We usually stick to the game. But this time, I think we actually do need to, because Wowhead is changing. And you need to know that Wowhead does not own Wowhead. ZAM does. Wowhead's site director was just laid off, and much like how fandom being shit led to...
What is ZAM? I don't even know what that is. Wow, ZAM owner of Wowhead? Hold on, ZAM owner of Wowhead. Are they like a news company or something? What is ZAM? First site started off talent count. What the fuck is this? Wowhead is owned by ZAM Network, doing business as Fanbyte, a subsidiary of Tencent. What the fuck? Wowhead is owned by China? Is that real? Wowhead is a long-running World of Warcraft database community site. It was originally developed as a talent calculator on my birthday. What the hell? June 26, 2006. That's my birthday. Not the 2006 part, but the June 26th. It has since grown to a comprehensive resource. The site was acquired in 2007 by ZAM, which operates under the name Fanbyte. Fanbyte is an Infinite Media named subsidiary of Tencent. What the hell? I didn't realize it went that deep. I thought Wowhead was just like this fan-created site. Shit. Okay. I'm learning already. We're like 2 minutes into the video.
Over to wiki.gg. This is in some ways a story of corporate enshittification. It's a wild one. It even has, well, one of the worst Jeffreys there's ever been. And I'm not talking about Jeffrey Dahmer. And to set the tone, here is a quote from one of Wowhead's most pivotal team members, who was there for a decade and whose work you have absolutely almost certainly used or experienced. The quote is, "ZAM has truly broken me." So yeah, this is a serious one. Now, as I'm sure you know, Wowhead's been very...
Wait a minute, is their picture a brony? Is that a brony, or is that just a cat with a hammer? Okay, never mind. Never mind.
This is a serious one. Now, as I'm sure you know, Wowhead's been very important to most of us, and for longer than many people have even been playing. If you need something, anything, you can generally trust that Wowhead will have it. Sometimes it's their own content, a guide maybe that their writing team has put together over the PTR, maybe some data mining gathered and then posted instantly. All the other times, well, it could be a user comment in their insanely comprehensive database of quests, abilities, items, everything. I mean, hell, even Blizzard support just links you to Wowhead whenever you're stuck. It's the absolute #1 in the scene, the undisputed leader in what it does, and in terms of the utility it provides, it does belong there. Or at least it did. For the last while, people have been questioning if it still deserves its place. One of the most common complaints, and it's been one for years upon years, is the actual site experience. If you don't use an ad blocker, it is an unfortunately miserable time. On mobile, only about half your screen is usable, and that's if you're lucky. Desktop isn't as bad to look at, but it's still bloated with layers upon layers of ads. It can take multiple seconds to load, even on our insanely fast in-office connection on a high-end PC where it's a dedicated business connection. And it is mostly because of ads.
Yeah, just greed, man. Greed always ruins everything. I thought, and like the whole thing that's bothering me now is I was always like, well, this is, you know, a player community run website and they need money and that's okay. And they're just trying to make some money. So that's why they're running. I didn't realize fucking Tencent owned them. Now I'm pissed off about the ads. Now I'm like, what the hell? They don't need this many ads. They're fucking Tencent. What's going on here? Jesus. I really thought it was like just like a guy in his house, a couple people running the site. And I was like, well, yeah, this is their job. They need some money. It's okay if they run ads. Like, I get it. If this is their job, they're trying to pay their bills, they got to have some ads running. I didn't know this was a freaking Tencent project.
And it is mostly because of ads.
That changes how I feel about it.
And load times go from over 5 seconds down to 0.7. Now, obviously, I'm not against Wowhead being monetized. It should be monetized. It provides real value. It's worked on by real people who deserve to have their jobs supported by income. Obviously, as we've all experienced in the internet, it can lead to a pretty bad time for users, and that is a medium to long-term problem. The other complaint, though, especially recently, has been content quality. They've been filling downtime with opinion pieces that some would say feel half-lifted straight from the top few Reddit posts. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with them, but they're often seen as a way to...
They're trying to destroy Wowhead before the League MMO drops. Well, like, so that's one thing. Like, I thought Wowhead was like this. Like, the thing that I go to for my League MMO news is Riot Grove, right? I know the guy who runs this. I'm related to him. This is the one guy show running Riot Grove, and he drops all the news for all the Riot titles and everything. So, like, this is where I go. It's a good site, and it's run by one guy. I assume that this was the same thing here, but I guess not. I guess Wowhead's a massive conglomerate.
Fluff out views. Class guides, often one of their strongest draws, have definitely been lacking as of late. Certain specs of talent builds with next to no explanation of why choices are made. Some are absolutely still top-notch, but it's still kind of random depending on who the writer is, and then, of course, things that we can't know, like the timelines, the conditions, etc., that go into the guide existing. Certain DPS, like say Windwalker, get a ton of guidance on their defensives. They're one of the lucky few, though. The point here is, most people would agree that it's getting worse in quality. There are a whole lot of reasons why, and I'll talk about those today. But first, there's that bit of bad news. Because just a few weeks ago, the person largely responsible for its past success was laid off. Perculia, the site director, announced that she was one of the wave of layoffs by ZAM. ZAM being Wowhead's Lord and Master. Or should I say, corporate owner. And looking at the replies, people are a mixture of surprised and heartbroken, and that even includes current and former Blizzard employees thanking her for her work over the years. Which is not a surprise. Perculia's peculiar signet was added into the game back in Mists of Pandaria as a honor for her contributions. Wow. And it's largely accepted that the site is what it is today because of, well, things that were happening while she was steering the ship. And if we've learned anything as a community lately, it's that you can't run a ship without a captain. WoW had no creative director for a while, and, well, it's no coincidence that that was some of the game's darkest hours. WoW is obviously still struggling to find its bearings years later. It shows the sort of damage that a lack of leadership can do. Obviously, she was...
I wonder why these decisions get made sometimes. I don't know if she's pissed off the wrong person in the C-suite or what. But how do you lay off the person who built the foundation of Wowhead? What the hell? This makes no sense. And I'm telling you, I've been noticing it. Like lately, I go onto Wowhead every morning. I spend an hour looking at articles before I go live to, you know, catch up on the WoW news, understand what I'm going to talk about today and everything. And I've had to go to Icy Veins like every day, other than WoW. Usually I don't have to, but I would say like maybe like maybe it's like 2026, it's been like that. Maybe this entire year, like the last 6 months, I've been digging deeper into Icy Veins because I feel like Wowhead's like missing shit. Like what's going on? They're not keeping up with the news like they used to.
The captain, but
it almost always boils down to money. Yeah, good point. It probably was just money.
She also had her crew. She had tech people like Steven who were working on data mining and database things, solving problems that nobody else could solve. Plenty of work was done in the community by absolute legends like Marleman of WoW.Tools fame, and Wowhead was already a big deal before really any of that. There was really Perk and hers, that group, that turned it into an unbeatable content machine. Their writers and data miners have internal tools that let them post their findings lightning fast. And on the user side, talent calculators and entire databases are updated immediately with every current WoW build available on the Blizzard servers. The Wowhead add-on collects data from thousands of users so that we can track loads of things, like drop rates, rare spawn locations. If you ever need anything WoW, Wowhead generally was and is your answer. And as the premier site, they were able to recruit and pay the best guide and class writers, meaning that you needed absolutely nothing else, really. They all had drive, from Perk to the staff, and the financial backing to make it all happen. And that's why I have to talk about who actually pulls the strings.
I had no idea.
The ZAM Network, then. It has a complicated history. You see, the first seed of it was an EverQuest site called Alakazam. By 2006,
oh my God,
it was ZAM, the subsidiary content network.
Oh, ZAM comes from Alakazam. I'm not even like a RuneScape guy or whatever, but I know this. I know all about this website. I've heard of this website many times before and visited it before. Wow, what the hell? Okay.
ZAM, the subsidiary content network that was owned by a firm called Internet Gaming Entertainment. And boy, it's a story. IGE was founded in 2001 by a dot-com investor named Brock Pierce, who was actually a child actor from the Mighty Ducks. Now, you may not remember MMOs in the early 2000s, but...
As a 90s kid, of course I watched the Mighty Ducks. Dude, was he the rich kid? Oh my God.
Ducks. Now, you may not remember MMOs in the early 2000s,
so many connections
but to call it a Wild West is almost an understatement. And where there is an unexplored frontier, there's obviously money. IGE was at the very forefront of selling virtual items and currency. Pierce & Co. spent millions and millions buying up competing sites, and yes, even platforms and fan sites like Thoughtbot. There was an obvious logic. Control the sites people...
Wait a minute, they bought Thoughtbot too? I thought Thoughtbot just ceased to exist. I thought it was like people stopped updating it or something. Is Thoughtbot still a thing? Or does it take you somewhere? Let me try Thoughtbot. Because this is what I used for questing back in vanilla. I might go to some fucking, oh Jesus, hold on. I don't know where the fuck Thoughtbot is. I think I spelled it wrong. Thoughtbot. Let me just Google. Thoughtbot doesn't take you anywhere but to Wowhead now. Thoughtbot, Wowpedia, wow, it's gone. Yeah, it's gone. They took it down. Okay. That's what I thought. I'm like, this website doesn't even exist anymore. When was it taken down? Launched in 2004, free to use. It merged with Wowhead in 2010. After damn, what the heck? There's so many connections here. Holy crap. This is way more sinister than I thought it was. I thought the guy just went back to work or something.
Use to find items and prices, and you kind of control the market. It's vital data, and it was all done using the money he got from his time at another place called Digital Entertainment Network. Incidentally, DEN was shut down following a heavily suppressed documentary that levied insane allegations against its founder. The 2000s were a wild ride. Anyway, by the time Wowhead was bought, it was 2007, and the purchase was all part of IGE getting cleaned up. You see, in 2006, they brought Steve Bannon in as CEO. Yes, that's Steve Bannon. And this was to court some investments, such as from Goldman Sachs. Shortly after, though, a lot of chaos went down. Pierce was ousted, and IGE was no more. They were now Affinity Media, and they were...
This needs like a Netflix docuseries or something. What the hell? This shit is crazy. I totally did not realize that this well went this deep. I literally was living in La La Land just thinking this is a fan-driven site still from 2007.
Out of the gold-selling business. Not that everyone believed them at the time, and Wowhead's CEO certainly had to do a lot of damage control. Anyhow, ZAM nabbed Wowhead for its content for $1 million. So, with that spent,
$1 million.
It was time to make some content, get some ad revenue. So here's how it happened. Thoughtbot's database was rebranded and rolled into Wowhead. Perk and loads of other staff were then brought on to get the whole thing rolling, and Brock Pierce...
What's Thoughtbot? Thoughtbot was basically Quest Helper before Quest Helper. Basically what you used to do was when you were playing vanilla WoW, there were no map indicators, there was no add-on to tell you where to go. You used to have to take... the only way you could figure out where something was reading the quest text, and if you couldn't do that, you would copy the quest name, and then put it into Thoughtbot, and then Thoughtbot would give you the guide on how to do the quest. It would tell you exactly where to go, what to do, what to kill, pictures, little guides, you know, from the community, and that's how you found out how to do a quest if you were struggling with a quest. You just went to Thoughtbot, put the name of the quest in, and then went and did it. This existed back in vanilla, and then add-ons eventually took that over, and now it's in the game. Now there's just quest markers on the map. That didn't even exist back then. So it was a vanilla tool, basically, used for helping on questing.
Had long moved on to bigger and better things, like helping Epstein. Yes, that one. specifically helping him invest in crypto.
Jesus Christ. Epstein's connected. What the fuck? I'm not going to lie, man. Epstein connections to Wowhead was the last thing I expected.
A small island in a small world.
Jesus.
But returning to the main thread, by 2012, Perk had become Wowhead's content manager and was leading it to major success for ZAM. They had spun up a submodel to help pay the bills and started advertising heavily, but by all accounts, they were totally legit, massively popular, and incredibly profitable.
What is
shockingly so, in fact. But then, a different controversial figure got involved. In 2012, the overall owner,
Tencent.
Affinity, sent ZAM Network on a journey to the east, at least in financial terms. Tencent, the Chinese tech and mobile gaming giant, were investing crazy amounts of money into Western gaming, and ZAM was part of their plan. Sadly, the deal is entirely private, so we don't really know the details, but, I mean, you can almost guarantee that a lot of money exchanged hands.
Yeah.
Back then, though, Tencent were actually known for being hands-off. If you were profitable, they were happy to let you do your thing. All that they wanted was fingers in the Western gaming pie.
Yeah.
Of course, they're a big corporation, so what do they want?
They're a big corporation, they're Chinese, which means they're funded by the Chinese government, which means they have plenty of money to spend, and influence that they could spread via their money. That's how the Chinese government does things. So there you go. Totally makes sense. That's why the deal is undercover. You don't even know how much they freaking spent on it.
They want diversification in their various revenue streams, and a great source of diversification is being active in different regions of the world. So as far as Wowhead was concerned, nothing truly major changed. Until, that is, the year of 2018, when a new name for ZAM appeared. That name was Fanbyte. So ZAM was now one company with two brands doing two distinct things. Fanbyte was the public-facing media site covering game news and editorials, while ZAM was in the background working with game companies directly. Obviously, Wowhead was a bit closer to the Fanbyte side. Or so we thought, because 2022 actually changed that. Now, first, you've got to understand the money side of things. During COVID, people played a whole lot more video games than usual. Every line shot up, and very fast. That drove gaming executives completely insane. Everyone suddenly had a ton of money and explosive market growth, so it kicked off an unbelievable burst of investment.
I don't understand how these CEOs didn't see this as temporary, though. They hired so many people, they put so much money into shit, and then realized it was only temporary. Of course it was only fucking temporary. What do you expect? You literally sent people home. They can't work in the office anymore, and not only that, now you're giving them checks, government checks. Every month, people were getting paid through their COVID checks, so people just had an excess of money and an excess of time. Of course gaming was going to explode, but that wasn't going to last. I don't get how short-sighted these guys were. They hired all these people, they did all this shit, and then they had to retract it all and fire all these people and cut back on all these things, realizing that, COVID was only temporary? What'd they think was going to happen? Stupidity? Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand how this happened. Of course, yeah, the temporary boom was great, but they should have known it was temporary.
One, that was obviously a bubble, and it's a bubble that I think broadly
still had to work, Doc? That's
kind of
crazy.
Still feeling the fallout from today. Now, Tencent found themselves on a giant pile of mobile gaming cash, and they wanted to make it useful. So they went on a shopping spree. And we all know what happens after one of those. You look at your account, you panic, and then, You're eating delicious ice soup for a while. Tencent kind of did the same. Nothing existential, but, post-COVID happened and they needed to tighten their belt. So, in September 2022, Fanbyte was completely gutted with almost zero notice. All that remained was search engine-friendly guides and low-effort aggregate news. Thankfully, Wowhead survived unscathed. Why? Well, because they're profitable. Fanbyte was basically a failed attempt to get a Wowhead for loads of other games. In fact, one attempt at doing that did survive the purge, and that is their FF14 site, which did keep up with an active database and feature development. But now, it's 4 years after that went down, and the Golden Goose, Wowhead, has lost Perculia and other key staff. What changed? Why? Well,
good questions.
In classic YouTube title fashion, what changed was everything.
Damn.
The internet of today is unrecognizable compared to a decade ago, and you probably...
What the fuck is this, man? Oh, look at this Karen. She getting ready to log in? Let me see. Hold on. I gotta get it on that perfect image.
The internet of today is unrecognizable.
She getting ready to log in. She had a little headset on there. She's ready to do her dailies, try to get her Netherwing mount and Burning Crusade. Is that what's going on here? Yeah. Look at how cute she is with her haircut and everything. Ready to play some WoW. Look at that.
Compared to a decade ago. And you probably know what I mean, right?
The mug size,
used to be laughed at for being, I don't know, BuzzFeed clickbait trash is basically just now the entire
ready to spam Facebook with her Karen posts. Exactly. Yes.
Internet. Top 10 lists, vapid culture war pieces, you name it, right? Cheap, easy stuff. Traditional gaming media has been beaten and battered more times than we can really keep track of. For years now, the corporate owners like Future, Ziff Davis, and Valnet have been constantly in the news for buying media brands and then almost instantly laying off key figures for a very short-term gain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's plenty of stories like this where companies, it's not just a gaming news thing, companies get bought out and then liquidated essentially. And you find out that the buyer's plan was never to really provide a better service or anything like that. Their plan was to buy it and then liquidate it and get more money back than they put into it right away and then exit. There's rumors that even that happened at Toys R Us, that they were profitable, everything was fine. A lot of these shutdowns recently, Joanne Fabrics and everything, you look into them, a lot of them, it turns out that the people who bought them never had the intention of making them successful or even continuing the brand. They just wanted to liquidate the fuck out of the brand and then dip. And that's what looks like what's happening here. You guys remember, like, gaming news really did peak for a while. It was like early 2000s. You remember, even we had G4. We had an entire live TV channel just around gaming news. That thing's shut down too, but I mean, I used to watch G4. It was great, man. I loved that channel when I was a kid. And yeah, gaming news has, it does feel like it's taken a bit of a setback.
You ever wonder why it feels the quality of work has went down?
And G4 got capitalized too and all kinds of shit. G4 got basically turned into non-game. Remember they started having like fucking police, you know, it was like cop shows and shit on there and, but you know, customize my ride shit and just like it got weird. And that's why I stopped watching it. I used to go there and I'd be like Attack of the Show. What was the other one called? X something. There were X Games. There was the Arena where they had like PvP shit on there from games. There was a ton of really cool shit on G4. And then they like started pulling sorry, I keep on pausing. They keep pulling all this content and started putting like this non-gaming shit on there. It got really weird. Olivia Munn started on G. Yeah, I remember. I had a freaking crush on her. I'm talking about like 13-year-old Sam. Man, I watched Olivia Munn. That was great. Yeah, they fucked it up. I remember their E3 coverage used to be the best too.
Why it feels everything is SEO optimized guides and that sort of thing? Well, this is basically the reason. Now, this year, there have been more layoffs across just about every major firm in the space. And it's all with a fairly clear point. Investigative journalism, expert opinion pieces, and cool features are all expensive things, and the bean counters have decided that they're simply not worth it. And the worst part is, on the immediate financial level, they're certainly right. Now, I think supporting expensive, high-quality content is important to building good products and brands that will make customers happy and, importantly, you know, actually last over time. A little bit of an important thing. But that is obviously not what the owners of these sites really care about.
No, they
don't. To
them,
these sites are just ad farms with value to extract.
Yeah.
Quite simply, they get a lot of clicks right now or they go bust. And of course, ads aren't what they used to be. Wowhead isn't covered in ads because the guide writers want to take the company yacht to BlizzCon. No, right. It's to keep the books balanced enough that Tencent don't dump them. Now, as easy as it is to blame all this solely on faceless corporate greed, there is a real downturn behind it too. And that's that over the last decade, the ad market has been a constant battleground. Sites get more aggressive ads, so, well, people make and use more aggressive ad blockers. Click farms get more sophisticated. Click farms, of course, are often used to basically scam advertisers, and that means that ads get more aggressive about detecting real clicks and real views. I mean, one of the existential threats to, say, Twitch, and one of the reasons why so many brands have abandoned Twitch, well, that's causing a lot of problems in the streamer space, is view botting. Because the brands want to know that whenever they're getting views on their thing, that those views are real.
Yeah, you guys are all bots. So, I don't know about how the advertisers feel about that. Yeah, I got all bots in here. Even the chats. I mean, I program the bots to hate me, basically. That's what I do. All these hate, yep, beep, boop, yep, exactly. All bots in my chat. There's no way to look at the garbage I watch. Come on. You think this garbage stream is actually filled with real people? What the fuck would that say about society? Come on now.
That obviously impacts websites too.
All the bots sub today,
Of course, attention has moved away from digital text over towards video. It's moved from long-form video often to short-form video, and sometimes then back to long-form so that people have something on in the background while they watch their shorts. Who knows? It's pure chaos, though, that's the point, and ad-supported sites are struggling to keep up. And now the latest enemy is the mass tide of AI slop. That's the case in a whole ton of ways, but it is the case in a very specific and important way here.
Yeah.
The backbone of advertising for games media for the longest time has been high-volume SEO articles getting as many people as possible onto a site. Now, Google uses AI to remove that step. If you want to know how to get Ascendant Void Cores, you don't even need to click through to Wowhead, because Google will pull the information out of Wowhead and just present it there.
Damn, that's what I just did right now when I looked up who owns Wowhead. You guys saw me. Literally, I pulled up that article when I did my search. Right? I didn't even click on anything. I just read the Copilot thing from Bing. I mean, I didn't even use Google. I fucking used Bing. Jesus, what the hell's wrong with me? And I didn't even click on any articles. I just looked at the freaking Copilot summary. And the same with Google that he's showing right here. I didn't even think about that. He's right. That probably kills these websites.
On the search page, meaning you never have to go to Wowhead, meaning there's never any ad revenue.
The information could still be incorrect.
Now, I get there's times where that's actually kind of convenient for people. They just get the answer that they want fairly quickly. But of course, it's bad news for the website, which is no longer being clicked on. And of course, that means the money goes down, and eventually that'll mean that those sites no longer really exist. They no longer fund content. One maybe thinks of the Ouroboros eating its own tail, right? So the internet as we know it is under existential threat. The problem is we just don't have an answer right now. It very much seems a large part of the advertising-based model is falling to pieces. And I guess, well, we can only guess what the landscape's going to look like in a few years, because the direction of travel is certainly one of games media and many game sites just dying off. So it's only natural then that if SEO-heavy advertising is how you make your money, that, well, you kind of pull back and work on another plan. Here's the thing. Tencent ZAM do actually have a plan. And to find out what the plan is, you just need to go to their site and look. Fanbyte was the public-facing ad-supported model. That's what they gutted in 2022.
Right.
Wowhead is also a public-facing ad-supported model, and it's been hit hard in 2026. But as we've covered, Wowhead was so big and so successful that it was insulated from the worst of what went down in 2022. But of course, it's not just Fanbyte. ZAM's other avenue skips the customer. They go straight to the business, and they provide B2B, that means business to business, community services. This is things like building Discord servers, Reddit communities, and X followings, primarily for gacha games. Lovely.
Oh my god.
It's all done behind the curtain. They get paid directly by the games companies that they work for, instead of relying on ad revenue. I genuinely don't know where Wowhead fits in this relationship. They have a good relationship with Blizzard, sure, but they're still an outlier in the business model of their overall company. And if that's obvious to us, then they'll be thinking about all this as well. Unless, of course, Tencent are holding on to Wowhead just to, I don't know, spite NetEase, their Chinese competitor who actually runs World of Warcraft in China. But somehow I don't really think that's true. But what we can deduce from this is that while Wowhead is still the profitable king of WoW, things will work just fine. But of course, I don't know if it's going to stay that way, because this is a Ship of Theseus problem. The question really is, do we need Wowhead in its current form? A few years ago, I would have said yes without a second thought. Today, I'm less sure. Their data mining posts are excellent, but a lot of it is now done over on the community Discord. Their database is incredible, but that doesn't take a massive team to keep running, and it sure doesn't need a slew of writers. Their class and spec guides...
You could just have AI scrub and pull all that shit now. You don't need people to do it anymore.
...are losing steam and relevance compared to more data-driven sources like Archon.gg and Murloc.io. And some of that I say from personal experience. One of the biggest improvements in our guild recently is that a few of our players rely on Archon to find raid talents instead of just using Wowhead guides. And we've actually seen pretty huge boosts in damage from just that. Because Archon reflects...
I don't pre-watch any of this shit. Fuck you, Ray. How about that? Yeah, Archon's great for their rankings and all that. Definitely.
The game's real meta immediately.
I love going
Guides,
to their site.
Traditionally, are set up with pre-release theory crafting and early results. Once patches land, things often do change fast, though. You can get context from community discords and data from Archon way faster than a guide updates. And because of that, suddenly, well, you'll have found yourself with a genuinely better alternative. I mean, I know going to a Discord isn't faster than bookmarking a Wowhead guide, but that's only true for as long as a Wowhead guide is gospel, and in many cases, they no longer are. And if ZAM isn't willing to invest in the expertise and the experience, then the community will provide it elsewhere. Let me put it this way. Everyone else is slowly starting to eat Wowhead's lunch, and they have no real answer to that, it seems. They have no site director to drive innovation and ensure standards. Two of their major staff actually left ages ago, and one of their main assets said ZAM has, as I said earlier...
Wait,
quote,
did he go to work for Icy Veins? Is that what it said? Hi, everyone. Husband and I have had our contracts with Wowhead terminated effectively. I've secured now with Icy Veins. Who runs Icy Veins, though? Is that a community-run shit now? I gotta look that up, too. I'll let the video play.
Their main assets said, ZAM has, as I said earlier, quote, truly broken me. The people who run the site are the site, and if Wowhead loses a few more key people, ZAM are going to learn a lesson that we all learned in 2009. No king rules forever, and I'm not trying...
Here it is, Icy Veins. Icy Veins ownership. Icy Veins gaming, news, and community platform covers World of Warcraft and other franchises owned by Enthusiast Gaming. The company originally founded in 2011 by Vlad Mateo. What is this guy, Russian or something? And operated independently until March 2020. Oh, they were independent. When it was acquired by Enthusiast Gaming Holdings for approximately $7 million. Damn, these sites are actually worth a pretty penny. What the hell? I didn't realize this. In cash and stock, plus an earnout. Enthusiast Gaming is based out of Toronto. Okay, it's not Chinese owned. Building its largest media platform for video game and esports fan. Icy Veins is one of the largest owned and operated fan communities. The acquisition allowed Enthusiast Gaming to integrate Icy Veins into its monetization flywheel, which includes YouTube channel subscriptions, content, and e-commerce. 100% of Icy Veins' advertising revenue is now owned by Enthusiast Gaming. I should start a WoW news website. What the fuck?
To be an anti-Wowhead doomer here, by the way. It is the default...
That's 7 million euro, 8.34 million US dollars. Wow.
...experience for a lot of people. And I think Wowhead will remain that way for a long time because of its legacy, its database, its history of comments. All I'm saying is, times change. Vibes change. I've noticed it over years and more rapidly over recent months. Seeing Perk being laid off, seeing quality regressions in some of the content, seeing some of the most key staff in that team talk about how the owner of the site has truly broken them, that does worry me. At this rate, Wowhead won't stay on top for long, and once it's not making the money that ZAM needs, it's probably going to follow every other game site. Manage decline until it's just a shell of its former self.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that come, but without the leadership that got Wowhead to where it is, and many of the other people who have defined what Wowhead is for the last 10 years, I think that decline is almost inevitable.
What they should do, and what Bellular should help facilitate since he owns a gaming company, is they should grab that leader who left Wowhead and start a new site called WowFeet, right? and the logo could be Xaloteth's feet, and then you just start a new WoW news site that's independently funded, and I guarantee you WoW Feet's going to be a much more popular name. If it's not already taken, probably taken, actually. Yeah, knowing the internet and its degeneracy, WoW Feet's probably already taken. Yeah.
The good news, of course,
gonna have to find a different URL.
When something big falls, there's opportunity. Someone else will step up and take the crown. Or maybe in true World of Warcraft fashion, it'll be a council instead. A council of Archon and all of the different sites that have sprung up to fix specific problems. Maybe that will leave Wowhead just as a database that's left with some ads on. Who knows? But what I think we do know is that for the longest time, Wowhead was insulated from a lot of the rot that happened to a lot of the rest of games media.
Right.
It now seems it's no longer insulated from that. In many ways, for us as players, that's going to suck. And for Blizzard, it's also going to suck. Because let's be real, Wowhead has been Blizzard's crutch for years as well. I would love to know what your experience with this has been, and I would also love to know, and I think many people watching this video would love to see in the comments, what sites, what tools, what things do you find yourself using today? I mean, using the likes of Archon has been so great for so many members of my guild. I am sure there are sites out there that I don't know about, loads of other people don't know about, so if you've seen something cool, let us know in those comments. And if you want to take a different track and enjoy what I think is a banger of a story, it's very important to where WoW's going. Watch this next.
Yeah, this was a nice video overall. I agree. I mean, it went down the well way further than I thought. I mean, I didn't realize Wowhead was owned by, Tencent, all this other shit going to... It's crazy. I didn't realize the WoW news cycle was worth this much money. $8 million, too, for Icy Veins. It's pretty crazy. Nice video overall by Bellular. Really good reporting on this. Interesting situation. We'll see where Wowhead goes in the future. But my eyes were just open. This is a pretty crazy situation.